that far, will it?
We have the discussion.
Yeah, we're going.
Okay, yeah. Okay. But guys, what stood out to you about the video?
We already talked about the couches.
Yeah, we were talking about the couches. And, I mean, that's really cool because I remember in my elementary school classes, it was so small. You know, like there was no room to even sit on the floor, and I love sitting on the floor.
I feel like if we took out the teacher's desk, though, because I've heard multiple teachers say, like, what do you need a desk for, really? Like, take out the teacher's desk, put in the couch.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I went to a Bixby classroom earlier this year because I have a neighbor and she teaches there, and so she was like just wanting to give me some in-class experience. And so we went in there, and they had like a bunch more students enrolled that year, and so they could not fit all the chairs in there. There was no way. And she was like, a lot of people are getting rid of their desks, but I don't see how they can do that and stay organized. And so I just thought that was interesting to see the different teachers' approaches to it. Mm-hmm. Some of them just like right away threw out the desk, and others just kept it. But I think that having a couch like really like affects how students
it totally sets the mood.
And the environment, and like they had at the beginning, the one teacher had the plants all around, and she was lighting candles.
Is that even legal?
And the soft lighting, heck yes, and the soft lighting. Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not legal to like light and go home, probably, but I think it is. And then the cluster desk, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and then how she had all the resources organized so that the kids could just easily find anything.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Me too. And then making sure they knew everything in the classroom was theirs. Like, that's so cool.
I really like that just because, like, in elementary school, I felt like there were so many things that were off limits that, like, it was very confusing to figure out what you could do, what you couldn't. So the fact that the teacher was clear and was letting them know, like, what's mine is yours, I think that also establishes just a sense of trust within the relationship and kind of allows... I don't know, I just feel like the teacher was able to connect better because her classroom was more of a homey environment, but still she set standards and rules that made children aware that, I mean, don't act like you do at home, but you can have that
mine was opposite in, like, elementary and stuff, because we weren't allowed to talk, we weren't allowed to move, we had, like, no supplies we had to bring, what we had to bring, we had to keep it in our little desks.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was it. So,
like, what happens if you didn't have a pencil or something?
We'd have to borrow from someone else. The teacher wouldn't give us any.
Dang.
Yeah.
Did you go?
Victory.
They would.
And that's a Christian school. That's so. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, like once it got like into middle school and high school, it was a lot better. Like teachers were more like, not.
And that's crazy because in elementary school.
Yeah, you think it would be like.
We
had counselors in high school instead of like what? Yeah, it was weird.
In elementary school, they need that warmth and that comfort. And
I mean, like the teachers cared. It was just kind of, different.
They would.
I still think that there needs to be responsibility.
No, I went to school in South Carolina, but they would make us buy our school supplies and put them in like a big box, and we would just use each
Socialism in the class.
We hated it.
But did you have anything like your work was displayed on the wall? No?
Wow.
There would be some times where she'd be like, hey, let's decorate, because they have windows outside their classrooms. So she'd be like, let's like make a little things to put outside, but like we wouldn't get to write our name or anything. So
it ruins your creativity.
Is that
kind of teacher or all of your teachers?
It was basically just one teacher, because like usually they'd use those windows to write like reminders and stuff. They wouldn't let us decorate or anything. So like we had art classroom, but like she just put the stuff into her box when we were done. So.
But I feel like that mentality of not like if you didn't bring your school supplies, you just don't. Get to like that just is not.
I just always kept everything in my like desk that we had. I would not take it home.
Yeah, I would be the one to forget.
Yeah,
it almost gives me like a knot in my stomach. Like seriously, thinking about sending my daughter there.
Yeah,
it's almost like ooh.
Like that
like
was
I don't want to do that.
You know, that was like a decade ago, but like
how
they are now. They have all new teachers and they have like new superintendents, so like they're changing a lot. But
that's good.
We had like an 80-year-old superintendent.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, that makes a difference.
And considering there they grew up in. Wow. Yeah.
So, did you guys catch on to, like, what era this reading idea came around? Like, integrated balanced literacy? Because I didn't.
Like, in the video?
Yeah.
Like, what it appeared to be, it looked like it was, like, the 90s, early 2000s, late 80s.
So, it is more, like, it's a lot newer. So, if you had an 80-year-old in charge.
It seemed they were more like rules based.
Yeah, they memorize everything. get A's on everything.
I mean, he would like talk to all the students, and he would call it the rules of the road. And, like, it was all rules.
Oh my goodness, that's insane.
That was our chapel for like the first 3 weeks.
Oh
just
gosh.
rules.
So I have a question then. Do you guys think that, like, because we're learning all about this, like, all these techniques on how to make your students think better and be more independent, do you think, like, public school teachers actually use that? Or do you think that's more so like a Christian school type of mindset? I mean, like, how many teachers actually use that? Or is that
use
more like
the reading or use
like
the
rather than having them memorize answers or like knowing the right answer or having a quiet classroom? Like, how many
teachers teach like we're being taught to teach?
Yes. Oh.
I think it just like I think ORU is really special. I truly think that like we're building up a new community of teachers. So, but I think that there are the occasional.
I agree.
And I think that there are teachers in public school that truly love children. Like, okay, have you had Wow. I forgot what class we're in for a second. Okay, so Dr. Martin talked about how before she learned this, before she learned how to teach like she is, she was just teaching the wrong way, and she still loved kids and she still loved to teach, but like she just hadn't heard it before. You got it? She hadn't heard it before. So I think that there's teachers out there that
definitely. I'm just wondering that, like, if we graduate and go into like the public school system, if we're gonna be like in shock because they're gonna be like, no, you have to teach like this. And we're like, well, I wasn't taught that way. Like,
well, I think we kind of have a little bit more freedom than we think we do.
And I graduated. I went to a huge public school. I graduated with 1,000 kids in my grade, and there were totally teachers who you could tell they were here to help you and not just for a paycheck. And I know most teachers, like, you don't really, everybody's always like, you shouldn't get into this field or whatever, but there were like genuinely teachers who made an impact on me and invested in me whenever I didn't understand a lesson or something. They would set me aside and they would help me understand it rather than be so focused on getting to the next, checking off, okay, like I completed everything for the day. So it just kind of depends. And don't get me wrong, I had teachers who were horrible and who I had to like go to math tutors because they didn't teach me math and things like that. So I think kind of what you're saying, there's a balance of just, I kind of think wherever you go, there's always going to be teachers who are kind of just there to, because it's what their degree is in, but I think there's also going to be teachers who want to make a difference, and are wanting to see you learn and to see you understand things.
So I have a question. What do you guys think in this video and the clips of the different teachers makes these teachers a good teacher?
Okay, well, I was just getting ready to say, like, a teacher that realizes that she needs to not have a teacher-based classroom, but rather a student-based classroom, because I loved how in this video, like, there were times where at one point there was 2 teachers discussing with one child. It's like they were giving that child so much attention, and I think that's great. And then at one point, like, each child had their own clipboard. While they were like taking notes, they each had their own little clipboard, and the little post-its.
I love the post-its. I liked that. I really did like the post-its.
Yeah, because they were like, they felt like true learners. They were sitting there with their clipboards. They're ready, like they're being taught how to think. And so I think, what was the question? What makes a great teacher? Yeah, I think realizing that you need to make your classroom student-based rather than teacher-based.
100%.
Yeah,
like show them what to do, not tell them to do it.
Yeah, and like wait for a grade and please, you're my students, you need to please me.
Yeah, and like it's really all about them. And remember the recommended books list? Do you guys remember that? Like how the students would write the recommended books
when they read, and they'd be like, oh, this is a good book.
Yeah, and so it's like the teacher is usually saying this is a good book, this is a good book, but the children are saying it, and so the other children will be they'll have way more motivation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And I loved the post-its and like I just love post-its.
They taught reading for joy.
That was a really good idea.
Yeah. And then the whole board thing where you would talk about like how to become a good writer and you would come up with it together. Like I forgot what method that's called, but when the teacher scribes it, what's it called? Literacy something. Sorry, Dr.
I'm still trying
to my classes are combining together, so I'm thinking of
why do you think I asked if y'all had had Dr. Martin. Yeah, Dr. Martin.
Language experience approach, kind of. Anyway.
I recognize too that like the teachers.
That's so
that the teachers were like very. They asked really good questions. So I don't know if you remember the one little girl who was reading the book about the dog and the child or something. They both got sick. She was like, I just relate to the story.
Yeah.
And the teacher, it seemed like she was asking the same question, but she was asking it like differently every time, so that every time the girl answered, she would reveal something else.
And deeper.
Yeah. And I was like, how is that teacher doing that? Like, how is she pulling out all this information? It was really interesting. It was really funny too because it was just funny to hear the child say, "Just relate."
Yeah, I remember that part.
She
so
just
cute.
felt passionately about it.
Yeah. But I think it's cool that the teacher was able to get her to that area where she was passionate about it, and it just causes learning to be deeper when you're passionate about it. Yeah, because she could have just like asked one question like, "How do you relate to that story?" And then she could answer, and she'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's good," and then walked away. But like she kept probing her, kind of like kept asking questions. So I was like, okay, I think that's a real skill, like learning how to ask good questions. You know?
I wrote down a question because I think I didn't understand something, and now I don't know what I was talking about, and maybe you girls will know. So I wrote down, what were those notebooks the kids had when they were talking about suffrage? You guys remember that?
Like how it wasn't really a notebook, but there was like different papers in there.
Yeah,
right?
And they were like talking about suffrage, and I never was interested in suffrage, and these kids were like answering all the questions about suffrage, and
they're like trying to find out what it meant.
Yeah.
Didn't it come up in a book somewhere?
Yeah, they were reading.
They were
reading a book about suffrage, and they got to that word, and they already had a poster kind of.
Yeah, an anchor chart.
that had words that they weren't sure of, and when they got to suffrage, she was like, "So what do you think this is?" And they're like, "Suffer," and she even wrote that down, like what they thought.
Yeah.
And then she wrote the real definition, and they looked it up. So I think maybe that book was just like words that
they've been working on. Okay. And yeah, I love all the anchor charts. You know, when you write.
I wrote that down, but I totally forgot what that is.
Okay, well, it's just like those big notebooks that the teachers are writing on, and they're like just like the suffrage one when she's like asking them questions, and then she'll write down their thinking, and then like ultimately have the one answer. And I don't know if she circled it or what, but then you just hang them on clips in your room, and like you have a ton of them. It's like a closet. It's like an anchor chart closet.
What a brilliant idea, or a brilliant way to build a child's vocabulary.
Yeah.
Just by reading a book, having them comprehend it and kind of understand, and then talk about the different meanings of based off the text, like what they think this word will mean. Like if it were me, I would totally understand that. Just because seeing that, I would go through the process in my mind of all the different ways we inferred what the word meant, and then to have it on the wall every time I looked at that wall, I would totally.
And I remember my teacher doing that, like in 4th grade. We didn't have the big anchor charts, but okay, when I was in elementary school, which you guys are probably, I'm 24, but okay, like 4 years younger. Okay, they had the white
projector.
Yeah. The projector. And she just write on it, and like the KWL. We did those like every day. KWL charts. No want to learn, but it wasn't quite as accessible because like she'd have it on the clear film or whatever, and I don't know if she kept it, washed it off. Every now and again she put a past one up there, but like we couldn't just like go to like the class and move them around.
Like we even did that in high school. Like we would do that for like our AP like lit classes. We would just like write them, and she would like stick them up on the wall on like construction paper.
Yeah.
So
And that was in your high school?
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere with you. Elementary school.
But yeah, in my room, even here, like I have Post-its all over the place. Like I hang my notes up. If I have Spanish homework, I just put it everywhere. Like it's so helpful. It's a mess, but
that makes sense to you.
Yeah. And so I think I'll have to really work on organization. Yeah. But as far as like displaying things, I love everything to be out in the open. But I did have like my burning question, I guess you could say, was how are we going to have time for all this reading and stuff when we have to meet certain standards?
It seems like they read the whole day.
Yeah, it seems like they did. And where's the integration? Like, I don't remember hearing about science or math. You know? Like,
I just think, like, in my other education classes, I'm being taught how to incorporate books with science and books with math and different things like that. So my initial response would be to just maybe pick out a book about, like, with science, maybe you want to talk about dinosaurs and the bones, like, then read a book, you know, about dinosaurs and kind of ask questions, and then maybe incorporate some, like, bring a bone to class, or, you know, some, just, you know, like, where you have the books, but, like, your emphasis is, like, the science subject, if that makes sense. Because there's math books in my math class right now. Like, our teacher is, like, giving us books of, having us write down books of just like, hey, this is a really good book you can read, and it talks about what we're learning right now, and just different things like that. So that's what.
And I think especially like if they're just those little short books, like a short little picture book about dinosaurs or about math. That's so quick. You can just like take 20 minutes right before the science lesson to read the book, which would maybe take 5 or 10 minutes, and then to just ask your students some questions about what they got from that, and then like, well, I'm so glad you're asking these questions because now we get to learn about it.
Yeah.
All ready? Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then like
I think so too. Like, even, I mean, building their background knowledge of anything is going to help their literacy skills because they're going to have more to write about and have more vocab. So like, even if you get something as simple as like watching a video, like they can come up with words that maybe they heard in the video that they didn't know, and then you write those words down and maybe look them up or try to figure out what it means or that type of thing. Or create a sentence with it, like that type of thing. So I feel like, I mean, you can integrate it, but probably in the younger ages, literacy and reading would probably be priority, because you can't, like, what was it? Right now you're reading to read, but then later on you'll read to learn. And if you can't read, then you're going to be like held back because you can't learn when you're reading.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't learn to read in like first grade, so I was like really far back.
Wow, and the book that we're having to read for cognitive right now talks about that.
Yeah, like I was the only one that couldn't read, and I just couldn't pick it up.
It's like Brain for the Einstein brain or something like that. And it said in there, like, typically, like, I think it's a 90%, students that aren't able to read by the first grade, 90% of those students will be behind the rest of their. So you're in that, like, 10%. You go, girl. But yeah, that's a big stat. Like, I would just remember reading that, going, whoa.
Like, you can't pick anything up in class at all.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Seriously,
so then you daydream because you got to do something with that brain. You're like, you can't get this. Gonna go over here and look around.
So,
did that help with your question a little bit?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I still don't know what it's going to look like in schools because the teachers that I know use basals and like very, very structured lesson plans and stuff like that.
Hopefully our classroom that we have at this class.
Really hoping. Yeah. Because I just don't know what it looks like in a real classroom. I know what it looks like.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory.
I want to know what it looks like the whole day too.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
you can.
Yeah, because with practicums you're only there for
even
an
with this
hour
one, we're
or
only going to
two.
be there for 2 hours. I mean, that's still good, but like, you know. And then it's like, boom, we're student teaching, and then it's like, okay, okay.
My biggest like concern, just like knowing me, is like you could watch the teachers and see how they are sharing their thinking. You know, we keep hearing that, like, share your thinking, share your heart, that type of thing. But like, I mean, sometimes you just don't think about what you're thinking; you just think it. So like, breaking it down to where you have to write down everything you're thinking so they can see what you're thinking. That just hurts my brain.
Well, like when I was in elementary school, I was the typical A student who like would do. I was talking to Emily about this. I would do anything just to get an A. I would like completely make my mind blank, a blank sheet, so that I would get A's and think how the teacher wanted me to think. So if I was in a school where the teacher was like, "What are you thinking? What are you thinking about your?"
You would be like,
I'd be like, "I'm thinking you want me to think
I
a certain
see
way, but I
white
can't think
walls."
about what it is." Yeah, I see white walls with the letters on them, but I don't really know what they mean anyway. So yeah, for me, I feel like we will run into kids like that.
Yeah.
Probably most of our kids will be like that. So I'm just
Which is why it
wondering-
was great that she went through the story, and after each page would stop and say, "This is what I'm thinking about this. You know, these are the questions I have because right now it's not clear. So let me just jot down my questions after each page."
And like Dr. Martin was saying, most kids are not used to thinking about thinking or anything, so it comes out in weird ways or their problems at home the school and stuff like that. And it will take a while to reteach the kids like how to think and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to go about because I remember if there was no one who was going to reteach me, I'd be like, okay, I don't like this teacher. I want to get an A.
I want to get an A.
That was it. Yeah.
Practice. I think the longer we're teachers, the
yeah.
more this is going to just...
That's why I'm grateful that we're in practicums now and kind of can get a taste of what being in a classroom is like, because I learn so much better by doing rather than just listening and hearing. And so it's nice for them to be able to teach us different things and then be able to kind of like automatically, like I'm going to remember so much more stuff because like I'm getting taught it and doing it rather than getting taught it for 3 years and then on the 4th year trying to remember everything that had happened. So
that would be crazy. Does anybody else have any more questions?
Well, I have one more comment that I wrote down because I pretty much said everything on my page. But getting back to the vocab, she had, when they were talking about suffrage, and they were all giving her what they thought it was, then she had the dictionary literally sitting on her lap the whole time. And she just like opened it right up and was like, well, this is what it is. And it's like, it made sense to them. You know how when like you're like, what's this word mean? So you just go straight to it and you're like, I still don't get it. It's like since they had talked about it and thrown out their ideas and like kind of got to a spot where they almost had the exact definition, then when she said the definition, it was so easy for them to be like, oh, and it just clicked.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
They even finished her sentence. They're like, suffrage is the right to vote.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Whereas if she would have just been like, okay, kids, this is what suffrage is. And they're going to be like, what is suffrage? Like, she said it 4 times and then still, what is suffrage? No clue.
Suffrage was to like 6th grade. So.
Right?
That's what I was about to say. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know they could know that.
And then the fact that they wrote a picture or a visual representation in their book about what it was, that's going to stick with them. Think about reading partners. Usually, they won't remember anything unless they act it out or write it out.
That's true.
Literally drill it in their brain.
Yeah.
And that's just really cool. That they all have these little vocab books and they remember everything based on what they draw.
Yeah. That's a huge thing I hope. My fear with that is you're going to have those kids that are like, I'm bad at art, or my picture sucks, or mine's ugly. I had a little girl that when I worked at the daycare, any art project she did, mine's ugly. I got to the, I would not let her say that word anymore. I was like, you are not allowed to say that word in this classroom anymore. You know, because like, it's not about how it comes out. It's not about how, like, what comes out on the paper. It's about like, did you have fun while you were doing it?
Did you learn? Did you understand?
Yeah.
Like, for the longest time, I would never do art. And then a couple weeks ago, I got really stressed out, and my friend was like, you're going to paint. You're going to paint right now. And so I painted, and it was so ugly, but I was like, it's ugly.
But it
I
made
like
you feel
it.
so good.
And so I put it on my wall, and I'm like, that's ugly.
I
like it.
As long as you like it, who cares? So yeah, like, I don't want kids to get so focused on drawing it so perfectly that they lose the the intention of it all.
And what happened to our faces? It's so dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we good?
Yeah.
I think so. We're good.
Bye, Dr. Mark. Bye.